Let's talk about Donald Trump and the Ford factory. Actually, this has been a pretty good day for Donald Trump overall. Between the ethics committee shenanigans and between the Ford factory feigning as though they're doing this because of Donald Trump, he gets a win. Now, this is something Donald Trump has mastered. He's mastered the news cycle. He's mastered the art of taking credit for stuff that he absolutely has nothing to do with, and he's mastered the art of putting people in their places. And I'm not sure which story is actually the one I want to start. Actually, I do. Let's start with Donald Trump completely and entirely bitching the House Republicans who attempted to run to circumvent the ethics committee. And they did it last night. I think it was around 11 o'clock last night. They voted to essentially gut the independent ethics committee and bring it inside of the House ethics committee, losing all the autonomy. And this really was something that got people into action. I mean, some of the Progressive Army team, one of our editors, Jamie Miller, a lot of people were calling from our team from across the world, across the country, trying to call their representatives to let them know that this is unacceptable. And just to give you a little bit more background on what they attempted to do, late last night, House Republicans, before the new Congress even began, convened, they passed measures that would have gutted the Ethics and Oversight of Ethics Committee. No sooner than the sunlight was shined on what they did, Donald Trump waded into the conversation and essentially said that Republicans need to be doing something else. They need to be he put them in line so hard that they backed off of their intention of gutting the ethics committee. And this is going to be a rare occasion. I know the reasons why Donald Trump did this. This was an easy win. This was like a setup. This was something somebody just threw you an alley-oop, and it's no way in the world Donald Trump could have messed this one up. And he knocked it down, and he knocked it down by putting Republicans in their place, which in this case is you don't do anything without your strong man's permission. That's exactly what Donald Trump did to them. So anyway, last night, Republicans voted 119 to 74 during a closed door meeting in favor of Bob Goodlatte. What kind of hell of a last name is that? His proposal, which would have placed the Independent Office of Congressional Ethics under the control of the very lawmakers. So the Ethics Committee is designed to give ethical oversight of ethics of the House members, congressmen and congresswomen, not just Republicans, Democrats, independents. And so this would have created a scenario where basically like our police forces investigating themselves. Who's going to find themselves guilty? Who in the House, of course, the House always likes to do these dog and pony shows like Benghazi. They like to do, spend hundreds of millions of dollars in taxpayer money over years of time in order to, quote unquote, investigate, based on ethics violations. And essentially, it's just a political witch hunt, no matter who it's coming from. Democrats engage in it. Republicans engage in it. It's always a dog and pony show. So they have their House Ethics Committee, but then you have the Independent Oversight Committee, which they wanted to get rid of, and they indeed voted to get rid of. According to a report from NBC, a senior House GOP aide familiar with the discussion informed them that, quote, the pressure was building in the press and from constituents this morning regarding the way the reforms were put into place last night. Early this morning, it became clear that we would have a vote problem on the floor with this amendment. Leadership called a special all-conference meeting where it was agreed by unanimous consent to strip the amendment. And they went on to say, CNN added, quote, it's safe to say that Trump's tweet probably added to that pressure, but it was already being heavily covered in the press. So the proposal would have barred the agency from reviewing any violation of criminal law by members of Congress. I mean, flag on the play already, right? it would have required that they turn over complaints instead to the House Ethics Committee or refer the matter to an appropriate federal law enforcement agency. The House Ethics Committee would have had the power to stop an investigation at any point. This is insane. This is absurd. And in a lot of ways, I feel like this is something that is par for the course for the type of administration that Donald Trump is getting ready to run. So people looking at this and saying, oh, Donald Trump did such a good thing. I want you to realize something. Well, one, it's not all Donald Trump. Two, Donald Trump doing this is really a gut check for the Republican Party. This is Donald Trump telling the Republican Party, like the movie, look at me. I am the captain of this ship now. They cannot get away with anything without Donald Trump. They can't move without Donald Trump's permission because Donald Trump will embarrass them. This is what happens when you put a madman in. Now, granted, the Republicans were dead wrong for trying to pull this stunt in the first place, right? They thought they thought it was a freaking free for all. They thought they could just get in there and do whatever the hell they wanted to. Little did they realize they have to first get permission from Big Daddy Trump. And without getting permission from Big Daddy Trump will go to Twitter and make you look like idiots. So I don't think this is so much a statement of Donald Trump's concern with ethics, because I think the number one problem Donald Trump's administration is going to have is going to be violations of ethics all up and down. Every single week we're going to have something because Donald Trump is that type of character. And the people he's surrounding himself with, they are charlatans. So this is not a statement as to Donald Trump's desire to be ethical and to quote unquote drain the swamp. No, he's not draining the swamp. This is not an example of him draining the swamp. This is an example of Donald Trump saying, look here, Speaker Ryan, I'm running the show now. And it's amazing how much Republicans complain and try to lecture President Obama about knowing the divisions of government. And Paul Ryan put out his lame ass video. That's one lame ass person. I'm telling you, Paul Ryan is one of the corniest. He is one of the lamest dudes I've ever seen in my life. And he's so confident with his lameness, like not confident into the point where he's no longer lame. He's confident to the point where his lameness is magnified. Right? He put out that whack ass video trying to lecture somebody on. And so the way our government works, President Obama, in case you didn't know, and all the time, Donald Trump is coming around the corner with a haymaker saying, get in line, bitch. I mean, Paul Ryan, this is going to be a hilarious 4 years. It's going to be a disturbing 4 years. There's going to be a lot of horrible things that happen, but at least we can laugh as we go and watch these Republicans get put in line, gut checked, get cucked and bitched by Donald Trump on a regular basis because, as we saw today, nothing happens. Now, that's the funny part. The sad part about it is they are not going to be able to hold Donald Trump accountable. Donald Trump controls the RNC, and so long as the Republican Party, so long as politicians are beholden to fundraising abilities, they are not going to shake the boat with Donald Trump. They are not going to rock the boat because Donald Trump could send out one tweet and end their careers. On the flip side, Donald Trump could send out one tweet about a Democrat or an independent or a Green Party. He could attack one of us and make our careers. See how, it's such a twisted irony that we're getting ready to go into. So Republicans, I'm sorry, and I keep laughing about the funny part, but the disturbing part is they are not going to be able to hold Donald Trump accountable for anything because they are afraid of Donald Trump. And they should be afraid of Donald Trump because Donald Trump can sway all of their constituents to vote their asses out. And so the Republican Party has gotten what they want. They are in charge, but they are beholden 100% and completely to Donald Trump, who at any time he wants to can devastate their desires because they have to get in line and obey. Likewise, or on the flip side, all we have to do is rebel. That's all we have to do. And wait. Oh, God, I wish. Like, I know there are Democrats who are waiting in line like, oh, God, please let Donald Trump attack me. That's the twisted world of politics, man. All right, so that's what happened. So this amendment to disband the Independent Oversight Committee, it's going nowhere because of pressure from constituents, as well as Donald Trump coming in and putting them in line and letting them know if anybody's going to violate the ethics of the of the federal office, it's going to be him.